Hello everybody and welcome to SportSource, your number one source for sports. I am Brendan Lloyd, and today I'm going to be running down my reaction for the 2017 NBA Draft. With the first overall pick, the Philadelphia 76ers select Markelle Fultz. We all knew it was coming once they trade for the pick. He doesn't live too far away. I think it's a match made in heaven. Simmons will be playing the point next year. It'll be Markelle Fultz. And I think it's a very great fit. They got Ben Simmons. They got Joel Embiid. They also got Dario Saric. And they have whoever they want to put, shooting guard. They could put Covington there. They could sign maybe like a J.J. Redick. Or they could sign a bigger name player. But nonetheless, they have a good core for the future. They're looking like they're going to be one of the future dynasties in the next following years. And I really like Markelle Fultz's game. And he does deserve to be number one. At number 2, the Los Angeles Lakers took Lonzo Ball. No real surprise there. We all knew it from before, which makes you think. Conspiracy theory? No conspiracy theory. Well, there are conspiracy theories, but I'm not going to make a conspiracy theory video. But anyway, Lonzo Ball is a Laker. Most of the Lakers fans knew it, but LeVar Ball, his dad, steals the spotlight with saying that he's going to lead the Lakers to the playoffs next year. I don't know about that. But with Clarkson at the 2, probably, Ingram at the 3, Randall at the 4, Brook Lopez at the 5, that's a respectable starting lineup that could still grow, and they could have additions next year, like LeBron James, as rumored, and Paul George, as rumored, but we'll have to see in that offseason. At number 3, the Boston Celtics took Jason Tatum. Not really a surprise. I mean, most of the recent mock drafts said him, but the earlier mock draft said Josh Jackson, but I feel like Jason Tatum could fit into their lineup better. He's a better shooter, and that's really what they need, just a secondary scorer to go with Isaiah Thomas, and that's what I thought they were going to get from Markelle Fultz before they traded him away. But they got Bradley at the shooting guard, power forward, they got maybe Crowder. Crowder played the 4 most of the season, and Horford at the 5. So they got a really respectable lineup, and it could be growing. And they said they are not interested in trading this year's Nets pick or last year's Nets picks for Jimmy Butler. And we all know what happened. Jimmy Butler went to the Timberwolves. Anyway, that'll be for a separate video. But Jason Tatum, I feel like it's going to be a really good fit for the Boston Celtics. And I think they could be a future team to reckon with. Coming in at number 4, the Phoenix Suns took Josh Jackson. And I feel like that was a good pick. They really needed a small forward or a point guard in the draft, so they could have gone with De'Aaron Fox as well and then trade Bledsoe. But Bledsoe is, I think, 29, so he's going to be the point guard there. Shooting guard, they got Devin Booker, the best shooting guard in a couple of years, probably. Small forward, they just drafted Josh Jackson. Power forward, Marquise Chris. Center, Dragon Bender. So I feel like that's a very good starting 5. No shooting from the small forward, power forward, or center. Josh Jackson's very good. He's a very good athletic player, but he can't really hit down the jumper, which is a lot of qualities I've seen from Justice Winslow, and he hasn't been turning out quite nicely for the Heat. But we'll have to wait and see. The Suns are kind of a question because the Timberwolves and the 76ers have went ahead of them on the dynasty chart. So I want to see what they're doing for the future, and how their players could develop, and how they're going to develop their players. Coming in at number 5 is De'Aaron Fox, one of the fastest, if not the fastest, players in this draft. And he's a very good point guard, and I feel like the Kings did good this draft, as you will see later on with my predictions, or reactions. But him and Buddy Hield, I feel like, will complement each other really well, and I feel like that'll help his development. They also got Skal and Cauley Stein, and Tyreek Evans and Rudy Gay will probably be gone by the end of the year. But I think De'Aaron Fox is a guy you could kind of build your franchise around. I mean, he reminds me of a John Wall. And I know that everyone's really making that comparison, but, I mean, he's very fast, he's a good playmaker. He's just a very great player. And dropping to 5, I mean, in this draft, makes sense. I mean, if it was another draft last year, he could have been probably 2nd or 3rd. But this year, number 5, this is a deep draft class, and I'm hoping that De'Aaron Fox succeeds for the Kings. At number 6, the Orlando Magic took Jonathan Isaac, which isn't really a surprise. I thought they were going to, earlier in the year, I thought they were going to take Malik Monk for a scorer, but I see now that they're trying to build that defensive style game, and I don't really like the Magic. I think they have a weird direction, but, I mean, shooting guard, Evan Fournier, point guard, Elfrid Payton, small forward, they don't really have Jonathan Isaac. And then power forward Aaron Gordon. And then Vucevic as center. I don't like that core. It's just me. I don't like their direction. I feel like, well, they can't really rebuild now, but I just don't like their team. But Jonathan Isaac is a very good pickup, and he could start the next wave for the Orlando Magic. I just feel like they'll be that team that will never really be good for a while. I feel like their rebuilding time is going to be more rebuilding time. I feel like they'll never really be that great. So, but I still feel like it was a good selection there by the Magic. Jonathan Isaac is a very versatile small forward / power forward. He can fit lots of places in your lineup. He's almost 7 feet tall. He's a very great player. I like his athleticism and what he could do on the basketball court. Coming in at number 7 is Lauri Markkanen, who the Bulls drafted, which they acquired in the Timberwolves trade. We will not get into that this episode, because believe me, there's a whole nother video for that. But anyways, back on track to the 7th overall pick. Lauri Markkanen, kind of surprising, kind of not. I mean, he's a great shooting big man. That's really about it. He doesn't really excel. Well, I mean, he excels in other places, but he's really just a sharp-shooting power forward. And, I mean, he's big. He could probably block shots, but I don't know how he'll really fit into the organization, how he'll be down the line. I mean, people have been comparing him to Dirk, but Dirk just is different. I mean, the playing style is kind of the same, but Dirk is better in other ways as well. Lauri Markkanen's kind of just a shooter. But I feel like the Bulls needed something. I feel like this wasn't really the greatest draft pick, but there were only really point guards left unless they wanted to take Malik Monk, which they could have taken Malik Monk, but I don't know. I feel like Lauri Markkanen was the right pick, but I don't feel like it was the right pick. I'm not sure. I just have a weird feeling about Lauri Markkanen and the Bulls. I just have that weird feeling that he's not going to be as great as he's been hyped up to be the next Dirk. But we'll have to see later down in his career. Next up is Frank Ntilikina from France. He was picked by 8th by the New York Knicks, and he's a very great point guard. Very good on the defensive end. He plays good triangle offense, and he's pretty good. I read a report that said there's a 56% chance of him becoming a bust. I don't know how I feel about that. I believe that they probably should have took a Malik Monk, but they kind of want a point guard to complement Porzingis, which makes sense, but by the looks of it, they don't really even want Porzingis, so I just find this whole situation weird with Carmelo and Porzingis. I mean, I don't really think that Phil Jackson is doing a great job there, but how he's handling the situation, I feel like he's not doing good. But Frank Ntilikina, it's either a hit or miss with him. I feel like it's either he's an all-star or a really great role player, or he's just a bust like the 56% chance says he will be. But nonetheless, we'll have to see that further down in his career. These are just early predictions. At number 9, the Dallas Mavericks selected Dennis Smith Jr., which I feel like was a good selection. It would have been cool to see Lauri Markkanen go there because it was the next wave of Dirk, but that's not going to happen. They got Nerlens Noel at the center spot. Small forward, they got Harrison Barnes, they got Seth Curry, and they got Dirk. So I feel like a point guard was their need, and Dennis Smith Jr., I feel like he could be a draft steal. I mean, he was like, at this time last year, he was supposed to be a top 5 pick. So I really like Dennis Smith Jr. in his game, and I feel like that he'll play good for the Mavericks. He might play this year, but I feel like he has not crazy potential, but I feel like he has good potential, and I hope that the Dallas Mavericks system grooms it well, and I hope that he becomes a great player someday, because I like seeing Dennis Smith Jr. play, and I would like to see him succeed in the Mavericks organization after Dirk leaves. At number 10, the Kings, they select Zach Collins, but then he is then traded for, I think, Harry Giles and Justin Jackson, which I feel like was a great trade, because I really like Harry Giles. I feel like being injured really hurt him, and I feel like he could be an all-star if he stays healthy. Well, not an all-star, but I feel like he could be a great player if he's healthy. I love Justin Jackson, so I feel like that the Trailblazers kind of... Or wait, which way was it? I'm not sure. But anyways, Zach Collins, I feel like he's a great power forward. He's a great rebounding 4, and he could play the 5. And I feel like that he could translate his game well into the NBA. Not so well that he's an all-star, but I feel like he could be a solid role player for years to come. At number 11, the Charlotte Hornets selected Malik Monk, which I feel like was an amazing pick by them. They snagged him up. He probably should have gone higher in the draft. probably most likely top 10, but he dropped to 11, which is fine for the Hornets because they'll take it. They got Kemba at the 1 for the future. At the 2, they're playing Batum right now, but he's a natural small forward, but I guess he's a very good shooting guard as well. He's versatile like that. Kid Gilchrist, he's a small forward, but he could also sometimes play power forward. They got Frank Kaminsky, who's a center who could sometimes play power forward, and they got Dwight Howard, who plays center. So they got lots of versatile players in their lineup, which is a very good way to build their team. And I forgot to mention they also have Cody Zeller, who was great for them when he started. But I feel like the Hornets have something going here. I feel like they have a good core. I just don't feel like they'll ever win. I just don't feel like they'll ever be that good to make the next step, because there's teams ahead of them. Obviously the Cavs, the Warriors for right now. For the future, they have the Lakers and the Suns and the Timberwolves and the 76ers to compete with. But honestly, I like this selection for Malik Monk to pair him up with Kemba Walker, also having Dwight Howard, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Frank Kaminsky, and Nicholas Batum. That's a solid team you got going there, as long as they all stay healthy. I feel like that they could surprise some people this season and turn some heads, and Malik Monk might play this season, but he's a very great player nonetheless, and I'm glad the Hornets selected him. Luke Kennard is drafted by the Pistons, and I thought they were going to pick Donovan Mitchell because he's a shooting guard / small forward. He's versatile like that, and they need a point guard. But they picked Luke Kennard, who I thought was going to go a little bit later. I thought he was going to go to, like, the Nuggets or the Heat, but he ends up going to the Detroit Pistons. I feel like he's going to be a great player in the NBA. I just don't know how his numbers will translate, because sometimes college scores, as we've seen with players like Jimmer Fredette, don't always translate to the NBA level, but I hope Luke Kennard does succeed in the NBA, and I don't know if the Pistons is a great fit for him and his playing style. Just putting him around players like, Reggie Jackson. Then you also got Caldwell Pope, who might not even be on the team next season. Tobias Harris, Stanley Johnson, Andre Drummond. It's just not a good core and a good way to build around Kennard. But I guess they're trying to build around Drummond. But, the Pistons are a big question mark with how they're building their team. I feel like most of their players just don't really fit in place. I feel like they're just all misplaced. Like, Drummond and Kennard don't really go together. I just feel like none of the players complement each other. I feel like they're all just on their own, and I feel like that's not a good way to build an organization. So, Luke Kennard was a good pick, just I don't think the right organization. Donovan Mitchell does end up going to the Denver Nuggets, and I feel like that was a good selection by them. He's a very good player, but they already got Jamal Murray and Emmanuel Mudiay and Gary Harris ahead of him. So I feel like, again, with the organization, I feel like it's a good pick, but not a good organization pick. I don't love Donovan Mitchell, but he's a very great player, and I just feel like, same with Luke Kennard, they just don't fit into the right organization, the players don't complement each other well. That could be said for the Nuggets, but not really. More said about the Pistons than the Nuggets, because, I don't know. Because Emmanuel Mudiay, Jokic, Jamal Murray, who else? Gary Harris, Daniel Gallinari, they fit together more than the Pistons, but they're still not a complete fit with each other. I feel like they're mostly on their own. But I still feel that Donovan Mitchell was a good pick. Same with the last pick, but just not in the right organization. And the last pick I'm going to be talking about is Bam Adebayo. And I feel like I like him. I liked him in college. He's a very good player. He's a really defensively minded center, and putting him with Hassan Whiteside might be a weird pairing. Bam could also play the 4, but I feel like they could have picked up Donovan Mitchell. I feel like it could have been the other way around. I feel like that they could have switched Mitchell for, and stuff around. Mitchell for Adebayo, but they got Dragic, who had a great year this season. Same with Hassan Whiteside. Winslow's starting to look like a not very successful player in these past few seasons, and Josh Richardson isn't really their shooting guard of the future. But they don't really have a power forward, so it's good to have a big man. Not really reminds me of Hassan Whiteside, but two rim protecting big men. I feel like that could be a good duo, and I feel like that the Heat could have some success in the future because of this draft pick. But we'll have to wait and see. That was all for the video. Thank you all for watching. If you want to see more, then just click the like button. And yeah.